Welcome back. In this episode, Democrats get humiliated as CNN is forced to admit Trump's support is like a rock at 87%, while Democrat Senator Mark Kelly faces a military investigation for undermining the commander-in-chief. Well, we're breaking down the video, the meltdown, the lies, the sedition, and there's this moment where Lisa McCain silenced Wolf Blitzer live on TV. This is great. And stay till the end. I'm going to be responding directly to your reactions in the comment in the live chat. Okay, so let's get right into it. And don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and share this video. Let's get started with our first story. Now, CNN's Larry Enton essentially gives President Trump some good news this week.
So is the president losing Republicans?
No. Look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party, and we can see it here. It's like a rock, to quote Bob Seger. I mean, take a look here. Republicans who approve of Trump 6 months ago.
Okay, hold on.
So is the
Not sure
president
why the audio isn't playing. Oh, great. One moment, I need to test the video. For some reason, my video isn't playing out. So let me see. All right, I'm going to have to download the video real quick or move on. Essentially, okay. So let me just run some commentary because we can't dilly-dally. Essentially, President Trump's approvals haven't dropped. The polling of Republicans who approve of Trump today is still at 87%. 6 months ago, it was 87%. Essentially, it hasn't dropped any points. Meanwhile, whenever you take a look at the points coming from Obama and Bush, they both lost 10 points, okay, or they were lower by 10 points. So those that have been posting on X saying that MAGA is dead, okay, they're quite wrong because the polling numbers say that it's not dead. It's still growing. It's still stable. It hasn't grown, but strong at 87%. Trump's support inside the GOP still sits at 87%. And this is CNN's own wording. And if the audio worked, we would have heard them say that his polling is like a rock. It hasn't shifted. All right. Now, question for the chat. Now, earlier in the live stream this afternoon, I had someone in the chat saying that the approval polling on the economy was low and so on. And I was like, yeah, right, that's for the economy. But when we look at these pollings, it's like the people who put Trump in office are happy with the job that he's doing. So that's good. Now, question for the chat, okay? Answer me this. Does this CNN admission tell you that Democrats are losing control of the narrative heading into 2026? Because the narrative that we heard from Obama after New York elected Zoran Mamdani was, that the American people have rebelled, have turned away from the MAGA doctrine. So let me know in the chat what you think. Now let's move on to the next story. Okay, while CNN is showing us these numbers and admitting the reality that that MAGA isn't dead, we have Democrats in Washington who are experiencing the worst week of their political career. They assumed that they were going to send Trump a message, and they are getting a message rather from, first of all, the DOJ is looking into them. And then we also have the Department of War releasing a statement. Now, we're going to look at a statement from the White House. Caroline Leavitt had a press conference where she was backing up the statement released by the Department of War, stating that Mark Kelly was going to be investigated, and it's possible that he could be court-martialed because based on military law, he's still subject to a court-martial for what he did in that video. So let's listen to Carolyn and hear what she has to say about that.
The White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark.
Oh boy. Okay, something is going off with my audio. Something is wrong with my audio today. Oh geez. Okay. I don't know if the audio is playing out at your end. Oh geez. All right, I'm gonna switch bosses. Give me a second. All right, let me just set up my audio. This isn't coming from the computer. The computer is working perfectly fine. So this is coming from the audio setup here. Input, output. Okay. Okay. This should be fine. So sorry about that. We're gonna start the video from the beginning.
The White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly. And I think what Senator Mark Kelly was actually trying to do was intimidate the 1.3 million active duty service members who are currently serving in our United States Armed Forces with that video that he and his Democrat colleagues put out. Senator Mark Kelly well knows the rules of the military and the respect that one must have for the chain of command, and that all lawful orders are presumed to be legal by our service members. You can't have a functioning military if there is disorder and chaos within the ranks, and that's what these Democrat members were encouraging. It's very clear, and not a single one of them, since they've been pressed by the media, and I'll give you guys credit for that, can point to a single illegal order that this administration has given down, because it does not exist. They knew what they were doing in this video, and Senator Mark Kelly and all of them should be held accountable for that.
Well, I agree. Let's have a conversation in the chat about this. There are a lot of people who are like in their feelings about this entire thing, saying, well, you know, the Republican Party, the GOP can't be seen as being heavy-handed over a video. Okay, but this is a very serious situation. If you had the military refusing orders from the commander-in-chief, it would spell chaos for the country, believe me. Now, we're going to watch CNN also give their take about this, because CNN, of course, have their position, and we're going to see how they spin this.
Breaking news, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is threatening to court-martial Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. The Pentagon says they've received allegations of misconduct against the retired Navy captain, but made no mention of the nature of it. CNN's Natasha Bertrand is following all these developments. And Natasha, thanks for being with us. I understand that this threat comes, of course, after the senator was in a video with other Democrats urging members of the military to disobey unlawful orders. Natasha, what more do we know about what they're alleging is a threat?
Yeah, Audie, this appears to all stem from that video that Senator Kelly made with other Democratic lawmakers, urging service members to remember that they have a duty to disobey illegal orders. And the Department of Defense, which now calls itself the Department of War, they posted a statement on X saying that they have received serious allegations of misconduct against Captain Mark Kelly. He was a captain when he retired from the U.S. Navy. And they said, importantly, that a thorough review of these allegations has been initiated to determine further actions, which could include recall to active duty for court-martial proceedings or administrative measures. That is extremely serious. And the bottom half of their statement there, it also kind of gets at why they're doing this. They say that, quote, all service members are reminded that they have a legal obligation under the UCMJ to obey lawful orders, and that orders are presumed to be lawful. And they said that a service member's personal philosophy does not justify or excuse the disobedience of an otherwise lawful order. So just to give viewers a sense of what this is all stemming from, here's a little little bit of that clip from last week that really angered President Trump.
All right. So before they continue their spin, they opened up the report by saying that that the order or the statement from the Department of War was unclear as to why Mark Kelly was being called in for this investigation. We heard the video by Carolyn Levitt. It was all connected to the video that they're about to play. And we also know that CNN has a way, CNN and now MSNBC has officially started running as MS Now. Okay, so should we call them BS Now? Okay, let me know in the chat, because I think we need to change it from TDSBC to something more appropriate. However, as we're going to see in a later video, they actually did something that I kind of approve of. So maybe I might hold back on my snarky BS Now take. All right, so let's watch this video, but give me your thoughts in the chat. And there's a poll running. Let me know your thoughts in the poll. Okay, vote on the question: did CNN admit Trump's strength because they are finally telling the truth? Okay, so let me know in the poll.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
Now, President Trump has been urging consequences for these lawmakers who made that video, saying that what they did was sedition and treason, and he has been extremely angry about it and urging the department to do something about it for several days now. It's worth noting, though, that service members do have a duty to disobey illegal orders, and the lawmakers who have been in that video, they have said repeatedly that they were simply issuing a statement of the law. Of course, President Trump does not see it that way, and the Department of Defense now appears to be obliging him with this investigation into Senator Mark Kelly. We should also note one last thing, which is that Kelly is not the only veteran in that video, but because he was a senior officer who retired from the Navy, he is required to remain available for recall to the military by law. The other Democratic lawmakers who are veterans, they completed their service at a lower rank, so they are not eligible.
All right, so that's the story, and let me know your thoughts about this, because honestly, I think when you pull these kinds of stunts, all right, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So prizes, not prices. Well, my immigrant accent is coming through. All right, the White House itself supports the investigation, and they're kind of making it look like President Trump is pressuring them. It is all about following due process. If somebody is doing something that is illegal, encouraging officers, active duty officers, to disobey orders that they perceive are illegal, it has a strong potential of throwing a lot of chaos into the system. All right, now analysts have said that Kelly's video was meant to intimidate the 1.3 million active duty troops because of his resume. When they front load their being a veteran, someone who was in the military active duty before, and I'm more experienced. Hey, and I outrank most of you. Here's what I think, and I think you should do the same thing. That it is really dangerous to pull that stunt and create chaos, in the ranks. Now, let me ask you this, okay? Should members of Congress be held legally accountable for encouraging disobedience in the military? The Democrats are going to make this look like it's a political attack. It's loading, okay? It's coming. You're going to start seeing them talking about how President Trump is attacking Democrats. You can see the framing of CNN that the Department of War, has ordered Democrat senators, so and so. It's coming, and we're going to see it. Now, the question is, did they do something that was lawful in advising active duty armed forces operatives and intelligence agency operatives to disobey orders that they perceive are illegal? Let me know in the chat. Now, Mark Kelly isn't the only one melting down and having a bad week. Okay, this is Monday, and his Monday is starting out really horribly, because we also have Wolf Blitzer, who tried defending Democrats on this, and he ran straight into a brick wall. Now, before we move forward, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel. If you like the easygoing tone of my commentary of the news without the outrage that you see on certain platforms, please consider liking this video and subscribing. If you can, donate with a super chat or join the membership. And if you don't do any of these things, okay, but you just watch and chat, I'm grateful for that too. Thank you so much for spending your time and your internet bandwidth on this small channel talking about what's going on in the United States news and politics. Thank you for your support. Now, Congresswoman Lisa McClain silenced Wolf Blitzer because she tried the illegal orders talking points. So we're going to see that exchange because it was quite interesting to watch.
I just want to be precise, Congresswoman. Should members of the U.S. military or the intelligence community, for that matter, obey what are clearly illegal orders if in their mind what they're being told to do is something illegal? Should they still go ahead and follow those rules?
You're asking an enlisted person for their opinion on what they think is legal or illegal. That's a pretty slippery slope. Wouldn't you agree with that? So that's an interpretation. And what the president has done is not illegal, right? So I would say follow the chain of command. Follow your commander in chief. That's the oath that you took. Because if you leave everything up to interpretation, you could interpret things one way. I could interpret things another way. And that is a very dangerous situation to put this nation in.
Beautifully put. I like this. I agree with it because you don't interpret the law as you see fit. On this channel, I have tried to interpret the U.S. Constitution and I've run into a brick wall several times with you guys fact-checking me and correcting me. And that is why I decided to take a course on the U.S. Constitution. I started it on Saturday and I'm having a lot of fun with it. When you tell regular people who don't understand the nuances and the ins and outs of lawful orders and unlawful orders, that is why you have the Judge Advocate General's office. They are the ones who basically judge the legality of the activities of servicemen. And then Congress holds the executive branch accountable for any orders that are given. That is their job. And then these guys are telling active duty operatives, hey, if you feel it's not legal, you know, it's your duty to disobey it. That sows confusion. It sows chaos. All right. So they keep trying to push this thing as if we don't know what they're trying to do. You know what they're trying to do. I know what they're trying to do. Let's be honest and you know, call it out for what it is. It is hypocrisy. It is dangerous. And it could create a lot of chaos. Look, these 1.3 million active duty service people with weapons, and you're telling them you can decide to interpret the law as you please or as you see fit. That is a recipe for disaster. Now, I need you to answer this question, okay, in the chat. Why do Democrats keep pushing the illegal orders narrative when they can't name one example? We played a bunch of videos earlier. They can't even name one example of one illegal order that Trump has given. So there's this hypothetical they throw up in the air. Well, if you see something that's illegal, you're obligated to disobey that order. All right. So let me know your thoughts on this because this isn't going away. And since the Department of War has taken up this conversation and is actually planning to court Marshal Mark Kelly, which I would love to see how that turns out. You know, we're going to be talking about this for a while. We're going to have CNN and MS Now, let me behave myself, and MS Now talking about this and trying to frame this story as something very groundbreaking. Now, the media meltdown also continues because CNN's Abby Phillips made the mistake of defending outright sedition in the next video. So we're going to watch her essentially run cover for what she perceived to be, you know, defending what these guys did. I don't know what she was trying to do, though, but let her speak for herself.
It's a wink and a nod, and it's all meant to undermine the President of the United States. The military does not have a right to undermine the chief.
Hold on a second. In this country, you do get to undermine the President of the United States.
Not if you're in the military.
No.
He's the commander-in-chief.
If you are a member of Congress, you absolutely, in this country, have a free right to undermine the President.
Now, can you believe what these people? Now, these are people who are civilians. They don't understand chain of command. Okay, as far as Abby Phillips is concerned, she's trying to approach this from a civilian mindset. That's not the way the military works. And she's basically trying to say, look, she's bringing her civilian sensibilities to this conversation. Okay, now let me know in the chat if you agree with her that it is their duty to oppose the commander-in-chief if they disagree with him. She clearly doesn't understand how the military works.
Undermine the commander-in-chief.
All right, so undermining the commander-in-chief is something that seems to be very exciting for Democrats. They love the idea of an underdog standing up to the bully, Donald Trump, so that, it makes him look even weaker and bad. And they don't understand that whenever your military appears weak or divided, it spells trouble for your republic, because your enemies, and the United States does have enemies. They have enemies. You guys have enemies. They see your military in disarray. It is a signal that it's time to strike. All right. Now, she, in this video, defended the Democrats calling for CIA agents and soldiers to disobey Trump. We all agree that it's crazy. If you don't agree that it's crazy, let me know in the chat. Now, question for you is this. Is the media trying to downplay sedition because they know that the Democrats crossed the line? Because we all know that the mainstream media has been running cover for the Democrats for decades. Let me know what you think in the chat. Now, if you think what we've seen so far is wild, wait until you see what comes next, okay? Now, today feels like opposite day because Joe Scarborough says this about the entire conversation. When I saw this video, I didn't know how to feel about it. I didn't know how to feel about it. Okay, I need to find my video. Sorry. 1 second. Joe Scarborough essentially did something that I didn't know was possible. I didn't know this was possible, because he essentially calls out what the Democrats attempted to do and essentially rips them a new one.
And if I have a criticism of what the Democrats have been saying, well, they fumbled the ball this weekend. But from the very beginning, when they say it's such a Democratic thing to do. You don't have to follow illegal orders.
I can't believe that Joe Scarborough is doing this. Can you? I can't believe it. Like, it feels like I'm living, I just stepped into a parallel dimension briefly, because I know tomorrow I'm going to run into more reporting from him and his wife, and they're going to say things that will grind my gears and your gears. We know that. So we'll just give them a pass. Let's celebrate this small deviation from their usual narrative. But usually what tends to happen is they say something very positive that kind of sounds common sense, and then they swing all the way back to what they usually say.
You know what, a Republican, you can't follow illegal orders. It's against your oath. And it is against their oath.
So here's what Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan, who was part of the effort, said yesterday when asked by ABC News to be specific about what illegal orders are being issued by the White House.
So let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
Okay, wrong answer. Well, I'm sorry, with all due respect, wrong answer. President of the United States, the commander-in-chief does have, Jonathan Lemire, wide latitude. Just does. And the Senate can take that up, but he has wide latitude on strikes. Ask Barack Obama and drone strikes. Ask George W. Bush and drone strikes. But where we know the president has said, I am going to give illegal orders to people in the military, is when he was on Air Force One, coming back, I forget where he was coming back from, but he said, I can send the Marines, I can send the Army, I can send the Air Force, I can send the Coast Guard into any city I want to control crime. And the courts can't do anything about it. That's illegal. It's just illegal. And so Democrats...
So you remember when I said they were going to swing all the way back to the other extreme? They just did.
Kind of need to... If the president has already said, I'm going to commit this illegal act, then I'm kind of surprised they don't have the answer when they go on a Sunday show for that.
All right, so this show is not about explaining what the president may or may not have meant when he said what Joe Scarborough just referred to. But we get the gist, okay? For one moment, Joe Scarborough spits out some common sense, and we agree with the common sense that the Democrats aren't making any key points on their claims that President Trump has issued or is about to issue any illegal orders. They've essentially sowed a bunch of confusion out there, and people are talking about things that have not happened. And now we're going to be talking about the fact that the Department of War may or may not be overreacting about the video. President Trump may or may not be overreacting to the video. And we watching may or may not be overreacting to the video. All right. So he defended Trump. He criticized Democrats. He mocked the excuses. We know this never happens. Let's enjoy it now that it has. But while we're enjoying that, answer this question in the chat, please. Does Scarborough turning on Democrats signal internal panic? I don't think so. I'm just going to answer it. I don't. It's just a temporary moment of understanding what this means if the actual outcome of the confusion they're putting out there actually happens. All right. Now, for the final story, Caroline Levitt just dropped the biggest bombshell of all, confirming the Democrats' worst nightmare. I'm going to put this story up. You tell me what you think after you listen to this very shocking report by Caroline Levitt.
Other matter, over the past few days, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has unveiled shocking new evidence that former President Barack Obama and top aides in the Obama administration conspired to subvert President Trump's 2016 election victory and undermine the democratic will of the American people. While publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful transfer of power, in private, former President Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to sow discord among the public and sabotage his successor, President Trump. The new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, who is here with me today, confirms that the Obama administration manufactured politicized intelligence, which was later used as the justification for baseless smears against President Trump in an effort to try to delegitimize his victory before he even took the oath of office. The truth is that President Trump never had anything to do with Russia, and the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud perpetuated on the American people from the very beginning. And the worst part of this is Obama knew that truth, and so did all of the other corrupt officials involved in this scam, including former CIA Director John Brennan, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and many others.
So this is a huge accusation, a huge update to be giving in the press pool of the White House. the big question that I keep asking, and I think you're also asking, is when are we going to see movement on these accusations? It almost feels like the more we hear these things being said from the podium of the press pool, the more it feels like it's more like campaigning and nothing is actually happening. They've made these accusations public. They released some documents. They've said a few things. When are the arrests going to happen? All right. So I need you to let me know in the chat if you have the same sentiments that I have, that if you guys are talking a big game, let's see some movement. Now, we know that James Comey and Letitia James were just cleared of, or they had the charges brought against them by the DOJ dismissed just today. And there is the concern that the justice system is heavily compromised because of the activist judges who do not serve the American people. They serve the Democrat Party and whoever it is that backs the Democrat Party. So I think there are concerns there, but let me know in the chat what you think about this whole thing, because yes, honestly, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to have all of these things thrown at you. Hey, there's this fire over here, there's a fire over there. When are we going to start seeing movement?
Director of National Intelligence Gabbard's report further confirms what we already knew. There was no collusion, no corruption, except on the part of Barack Obama and the weaponized intelligence agencies at the time. The Russia hoax was a blatant lie, all ginned up by Democrat political operatives that were signed off on by then President Obama and leaked to the news media to launch a years-long witch hunt against President Trump.
Yep. So that report was released. And honestly, guys, let me know in the chat what you think. Now, we're going to be responding to your messages and to your responses in the chat, so keep them coming. We're going to start right away, right after we read some of the comments coming from the comments section. We're going to take 2 comments and then we will read your chat. So if you've not posted your chat yet, if you've not said anything in the chat, it's time for you to just go ahead and do so. So I'm going to just quickly share the comment section with you. We're going to just take a couple of comments and then we will move on. Okay. So, oops. All right. So we have several smart Alex here. Johnny Mack responding to the video we did last week. Democrats obliterated as more Epstein revelations show up. He says Hakeem will never be accepted by Americans unless he wears a sombrero and a mustache. Okay, we have some comedians in the comment section. This comment from a day ago says Hakeem gives Kamala a run for the money for spewing word salads. And then we have this commenter who says this, and this will be the last comment for the night, and then we will jump into the comments, the chat. So load up your chats. We're coming in. All right. Democrats obliterated as more Epstein revelations appeared. That's the video he is responding to, and Nowhere Man says, so Jordan, he's talking about Jim Jordan, thinks Smith was wrong for raiding Trump's home for documents that shouldn't have been there. President Trump declassified them. I don't know how hard it is for people who are so partisan to understand that what happened to President Trump should not have happened. Those documents were declassified. And if what he did was so egregious and criminal, how come the charges were dropped? Okay. Imagine Biden or Obama refusing for a year to turn in those documents. Biden did. He refused to turn in the documents. They found his documents sitting beside his Porsche. And then when he was meant to be brought in for questioning, they said he was too old and disconnected to actually stand trial. That's what they said. So we have people like this who are partisan, who can't string together a reasonable argument about their point. making excuses for something that actually did happen, and they talk as if it never did happen. Then imagine a Biden-appointed judge that gets him out of it. Well, that happened. This is after almost 60 appointed judges turning him down after trying to reverse an election. Oh, geez. Imagine Biden or Obama doing that, but they did not. That's what your hero did. Yes, he did. Keep on believing. Oh, well, I'm grateful for the internet. We're going to continue to see people crash out over things that are simply common sense. And whenever you bring the evidence, they crash out even more. Let's jump into the comment section. I'm trying to keep our conversations as interesting. And here's a very interesting comment by Canary King. You can't ask the military to refuse orders from the commander-in-chief. This was a big mistake. All right. I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was well calculated. What the end game is, we will find out. In the past, I used to ascribe actions like this to stupidity, but that is quite naive to do, assuming that the people who do these things don't know what they're doing. They are smart, they're well educated, they're well connected, they have lawyers that are paid thousands of dollars an hour to give them advice on how to skirt the legal system, do things that are barely legal, and then get away with it. And of course, do it in a district that is a blue district. If you were to stand trial in civil courts, they would get off like we just saw with James Comey and Letitia James. Second comment in the chat. This may be hard to prove under the law. The wording was crafted carefully. I agree. Everything that was done, like I said earlier, was crafted with the legalities carefully mapped out, looking for where the landmines are and crafting the narrative carefully so that even if it lands before a judge, they will be allowed to go scot-free because you can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this is what they were trying to do. Okay. It is both the beauty and the bane of the American legal system. But I'll say that the American legal system is more beautiful than it is ugly. There are people who use the legal system against law-abiding Americans because they've learned how to navigate these laws. All right, so we are going to keep a close eye on things, see where everything goes, and then we will all eventually find out what happens in the end. Time is our friend. Time is our friend. All right, so this has been a quiet live stream in the chat. We're going to be stopping the live stream here since we don't have any more comments in the chat. Thank you for being a part of today's live stream. I saw all the activity and all the eyeballs. I would like to look at the I asked you to do a poll. I would like to take a look at the poll very quickly and confirm what the poll says. So my other computer crashed and went offline because that's what I usually use to instantly take a look at the polls whenever I'm live streaming. So I'm going to try to quickly log in and take a look at the poll to see what you guys decided. Okay. On the backup channel, we have 100%. Now, if you're still watching and you haven't taken the poll, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to take the poll. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to take the poll before I take it down and call out the results. let's see what the main channel so far is still at 100% on the backup channel. Backup channel is X Roads, right? X Roads. If you see that on your screen, then you're looking at the backup channel. All right, on the main channel, we have 50% said they accidentally told the truth. Talking about, now let me read out the poll again. Did CNN admit Trump's strength because they are finally telling the truth? 50% here said they accidentally told the truth. 50% says they're not sure. All right, I'm going to close the poll on the main channel. All right, so it is confusing, and to be honest, it's hard to say what's going on in the heads of the people in CNN. On the backup channel, we have 100% saying they accidentally told the truth. If we take an aggregate, then we'll just say they accidentally told the truth. Larry Enton has, he basically looks at the numbers, and the numbers are very clear that the polls within the GOP favoring Donald Trump are real and they're very strong. All right, so before we say goodnight, please remember to consider subscribing to the channel if you like the laid back, easygoing commentary that we give here. We try to kind of tell it as it is and try to be nonpartisan and, tell you, hey, look, we are conservative. We are conservative, but we like to tell the truth. If we see something the Republicans do that is wrong, we will call it out. We're not going to run cover for them and try to protect them. We're going to say, look, these people did this and they shouldn't have done it. And we will try to also tell you the truth at all times. That's what we do. So if you like what you hear, you think that you would like to stick around, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. Let us know what you think in the comment section and in the chat. And then come back tomorrow because we live stream on weekdays at noon and at 9 p.m. Eastern. Noon Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm grateful to have you and to have your company. It's really great to see you. And I'll see you tomorrow when we go live yet again. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Welcome to Headlines and History, live news reactions and your views. We're about to go live soon, so grab your spot and get ready for a sharp, balanced take on today's biggest news stories with a dash of historical insight. Stay tuned. Each week, we tackle the headlines that matter: politics, economics, global events with a balanced lens. We'll react live, tie today's stories to historical moments, and spotlight your views in the chat. From trade talks echoing the 1990s to crises recalling 2008, we're here to unpack it all. Your voice drives the show. Share your thoughts or historical parallels in the live chat, and we'll dive into the best ones. It's news, context, and community all in 1 hour. We're moments away from launching Headlines and History. Stick around for live reactions, historical nuggets, and your chance to chime in. Hit the notification bell, prep your comments, and let's make sense of the news together. See you.